Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with the next topic for this training session, which is on starting and stopping an SAP system. Okay, in this topic we'll be covering about how to stop and start an SAP system, and we'll cover different SAP systems, that is ABAP based system, Java based system, ABAP and Java system, and we'll cover different versions as well, that is the versions before 7.0 and versions after 7.1. Okay, so basically the start process, every SAP system has a database and at least one instance. An SAP system with a Java stack also has a central services instance. A system with an ABAP stack can contain an ABAP central services instance that provides the ABAP enqueue service and ABAP message server. In this case, the central instance doesn't have an enqueue work process or a message server. An SAP system with a ABAP and Java stack can therefore have two central instances, one for Java and one for ABAP. Okay, let's see. Basically, this figure, it is showing the start process of an SAP system. If the SAP system has an ABAP central instance or the Java central instance, they are started first. Okay, so here you can see instances with enqueue but without ABAP dispatcher. ABAP is SCS or CS or directly after the start of the database. Instance with ABAP dispatcher and enqueue, central instance with ABAP, and all other dialog instances. So this is basically the sequence of starting. So what we have seen is that first the instance with enqueue but without ABAP dispatcher, that is ASCS, which is started first. Okay, then basically here we are seeing how the different instances are started and the sequence in which they are started. Okay, the first priority goes to the ABAP central services instance, that is having the priority number 1. Okay, the priority number 2 goes to the central instance with an ABAP dispatcher and an enqueue work process. Okay, number 3 goes to the other dialog instances. So these are the 3 instances. Just take note that first one is ABAP central services instance, second is central instance, third is all other dialog instances. So these are the 3 things. This is the order basically. So take note that database has to be up before the actual SAP can be started. Okay, so that is the prerequisite. Okay, let's go to the next slide where you are seeing the directory structure for an SAP system. You have user SAP, under that there is SAP SID, and you have these directories like sys, global, profile, exe. Then you have dveb, mgs 00 or 01, or depending on what is the system number. Okay, here D stand for dialog, V is update, E is enqueue, B is batch, M is messaging, G is gateway, S is spool. Okay, so this is the directory structure that we'll see. This is basically for the ABAP and Java system. Okay, the next thing that we are seeing here is start and profile evaluation for the instance. So what happens is that first the start profile, it will start the SAP's start SRV process, which in turn will start SAP CPE, which will sync the kernel folder, and after that the database, if it is not already started, it will be started, and then the default instance, and after that the instance profile. So this is the order in which the starting of a system takes place. Okay, here we are showing starting an SAP NetWeaver AS ABAP without an ABAP Central Services instance. So there is no Central Services instance, but we have Central instance and Dialog instance there. So first thing is what is happening is just doing is SAP start SRV. After that you are starting the Central instance, and here you can see that the messages server is started, and then the dialog instance are started. So that is the sequence for ABAP without its central instance. Okay, this is showing starting an SAP NetWeaver AS ABAP with a central instance. So central instance gets started first, and then central services instance, then central instance, and then the dialog instances are started. Okay, in 7.1 onwards, there is nothing called central services instance or central instance. It is renamed to primary application server and additional application server instance. So that is the difference. So just take note, because moving forward these are the names that will be used. Okay, start process for an individual instance and evaluation of profile is basically ABAP plus Java, showing the sequence how it is starting. Okay, then starting an AS Java, that is having no ABAP but only Java system. Okay, so if it is only Java system, it is showing how the system start takes place. We'll cover them in the subsequent slides. Basically we'll log on to the system to show you guys how this works. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, where it is showing how the SAP start SRV is starting rest of the process. Then SAP CP is started. After that database is checked, and if it is not started, it is started, and then default and instance profiles are started. Okay, then this is the figure about the SAP MMC. Here you can see the system ID database, then you have central instance of an AS ABAP plus Java system. Okay, in Unix actually you have the stop SAP and start SAP script, which is used for stopping and starting SAP. Okay, these are the parameters which can be used, like start SAP DB, start SAP R3, J2E. Also with these parameters you can do individual system stop and start. Okay, so one major thing to take note is that before you stop any SAP system, make sure that you check the status of the users which are already logged in the system using SM04. Okay, check using AL08. Check the background processing using SM37. Find out which jobs are already running. Okay, find out which jobs are active and which is planned to be triggered soon. Check the update SM31, see if anything is there. Check the external connectivity and send a system message using SM02 that the system is going for a restart. Okay, that's it about the theoretical aspect of it. Let's log into a system and I'll show you how this works. So let's go to a ABAP system. Here you can see this DC1. This is an ABAP system. This has a database instance and the central instance. Okay, if we do a stop start, they are started in this manner. That is, database is start. We need to stop start the database, then this particular thing is started. Okay, this system has an Java instance as well. Here you can see that these are the Java instance which is there. Okay, in the process list you see the message server and the enqueue server is there, and this particular process, it has the J control and the gateway process. So that is about this ABAP and Java system. So let me show you the dual stack system, how it is in the dual stack system. So this is a dual stack system. Okay, in a dual stack system, this is a database, this is your Java, uh, ABAP instance, this is your central instance, and the processes, you can see that these are the processes that are there. Okay, in the Java stack you have these processes are there in the Java stack. Okay, so and stopping and starting is pretty straightforward. You just do a select the SID, right click and just do a stop, and for starting just do a start. So that's how the stop and start works. Okay, so that is probably I'll just show you one of the system how to stop it. Okay, so I'm starting it. Here you can see that shutdown. Do you want to do a hard system or soft? So let's select the default option, and here you can see that the stop wait is 300 seconds. That is, it will wait for 300 seconds for this process to time out. Okay, in this case, the first time you connect, it will ask for a password on a particular day. Okay, just make sure that the password is correct. Okay, so I'm stopping this particular system. This is a refresh button using which we can see if the stop is already started or not. So basically it takes some time depending on how many applications are running. Here you can see that the status has turned yellow. If you go to the process, you can see that the gateway is stopped. Okay, dispatcher is about to go down. Okay, so you can see that dispatcher has turned yellow. It will be going down next, and after that is the message server will go down. So this is basically the sequence in which the stop happens. Okay, so depending on the how many resources are there in the system will take its own time to stop the different processes which are running. Say for example, if you have 100 applications, so all the applications will be loaded into the memory or the swap, and when you are shutting down, it will be removed in a sequential manner. So depending on the number of application, number of users it has to report, number of active sessions, the time it takes to stop varies from system to system. Okay, so let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, in the meantime I'll show you where the logs are written for this. So if I just go to this folder, here you can see which folder you have the logs. Here you have the user, you have SAP, you have the SID. Under the SID you can see this is the directory structure. So this is the directory structure. Under the work folder you will see that okay, bootstrap is written, you have the dispatcher log, you have the ICF, that is ICF framework log, you have the ICM log, JControl log. So these are the basically the stop start logs for the system. Okay, here you can see that this has stopped. Okay, this DAA is the host agent which is there on the system. So let's start this SID. You can just click on this start. Okay, and it will start. It will take some time to start, but you will see that this is starting. Okay, so this is taking some time to start. Let's see, let's refresh this process. Here you can see that this is taking time to start. So if you see this process list, here you can see that dispatcher is the last one. Okay, gateway is started, message server is started. Okay, and in the log folder all the logs will be written in that sequence. Here you can see, okay, if I just click on the date modified, okay, so this is dispatcher is coming up. If you open this, you will see how the logging is taking place for this system, what is happening with the start sequence. Okay, here you can see for starting it's the process. This is a Java argument is created here, so depending how much memory is allocated and all this stuff. Okay, for the startup, what type of memory, what is the system ID, startup sequence, host name, and all that information. Okay, so that is about. You can see that the other information, other files are created, like this is your dialog instance log. So w4 dialog process, J control, Java control log, RFC log. This is server 0 log, and this is the output for the server 0, basically for the Java instance. Okay, if I come here, if I just refresh this, you can see the system has started successfully. Okay, that's what actually I wanted to cover in this particular session. Thanks for joining and have a nice day. Bye bye.